Welcome to Aphra's Artifacts, where we do some archaeology of our own and dig into the queer side of Star Wars. I'm your host, Alia Morgaine, and it's so great to have you here. Well, today we are finishing up our discussion of Kaeden Larte from the Ahsoka novel by E.K. Johnston. So, this woman, again, is a young woman of color who is spunky and queer and just awesome. So this part of her story will get into some really bad times she went through, along with when she finally revealed her feelings for Ahsoka. So it starts right after Ahsoka has revealed who she is, that she used to be a Jedi, that she's a Force user, and Ahsoka says, "I never meant to put any of you in danger. I didn't think anyone would find out, and I hoped that would keep you safe." Kaeden responds, "Safe? We're not angry because your existence put us in danger, Ahsoka. We're angry because you didn't do everything you could to help us sooner." It felt like Kaeden had struck her across the face. Ahsoka had done everything she could possibly think of. She'd set up a place to hide. She'd stockpiled food and water and medical supplies. She'd helped them get organized. But she hadn't used the Force to save Hoban. "Kaeden, what do you even know about family? You never had one, and you probably never had friends either. Just clones who had to do everything you said because you were their superior officer." So Kaeden lays into Ahsoka, really questioning, as a Jedi, does she know what it's like to have a family? Does she know what it's like to really have friends? And this hits Ahsoka really hard, but Kaeden just storms off. And then, unfortunately, after storming off, Kaeden gets captured by stormtroopers who take her off to be interrogated. And Kaeden, in her mind, is thinking, "Ahsoka," she thought, wondering if Jedi could really read minds. "Ahsoka, I'm sorry." But throughout it all, because she realizes that Ahsoka really does care, really is concerned with their welfare, she refuses to give up Ahsoka or her friends from Raada. So Kaeden does not give in, and she's very strong throughout. And Ahsoka does come to her rescue, just in time for the only problem to be Kaeden having a broken arm. Although at the time she's rescued, Kaeden is barely conscious, but the only permanent lasting damage, or not permanent, but the only lasting damage or long-term damage was a broken arm. And then she does the best she can to convince Ahsoka to leave Raada, and Ahsoka does for a time, promising to return to help them out of their Imperial situation. So then the novel goes into sort of Ahsoka's journey to find Bail Organa, to get help to evacuate the people of Raada. So not to get fighters, because that's just not going to work, but to get some evacuation plan in place. And I'll get to that in a minute. So during all of this, Kaeden is clinging to the fact Ahsoka said she would return. And Miara says, "Why would she come back? There's nothing here." Kaeden then responds, "There's us. She might come back for us." Miara, "Her and what army? Or would you leave everyone else behind to save yourself?" Kaeden couldn't say it, couldn't see the look of disgust she knew her sister would give her if she did. But the truth was that she would leave Raada in a heartbeat if she could. If it would save her, or Miara, from ever feeling that machine on her chest again, she would do it. Guilt was a long pain, but it was survivable. She wasn't sure how long she'd hold up if she was tortured again. And the after effects of being tortured, there's no actual marks left from that machine, but she's always kind of rubbing her chest and flinchy, and so everyone just sees her as being twitchy and scared all the time. But she says, "At least no one accused her of being lovesick, even when they might have needed a laugh." So at least there's that. They knew she had a thing for Ahsoka, but they didn't rub it in or anything. So that at least was good for her. And then we have sixth brother, one of the Inquisitors, who comes to their hideout in the cavern and kills most of Kaeden's friends. Following that by dragging her away in the aftermath. And then he waits for Ahsoka to stage a rescue, holding Kaeden as bait. And there's the whole fight and everything's great and Ahsoka is amazing. And so then she's able to save Kaeden a second time. So it says, in her cell, Kaeden's head snapped up and she scrambled to her feet. It was still difficult to balance with her arm, but the sound of Ahsoka's voice encouraged her. She walked forward. At last, Kaeden was face to face with Ahsoka. She knew her hair was a disaster. She was covered in dirt. Her head wound looked terrible, and her arm was still bound uselessly to her chest. But she was on her feet. Ahsoka looked different, powerful, focused, completely beyond Kaeden's comprehension. Ahsoka wielded a pair of bright white lightsabers, and even though it was Kaeden's first time seeing them, she couldn't imagine Ahsoka without them in her hands. Despite the circumstances, she smiled. "Kaeden!" Ahsoka shouted and ran to help her move faster. "Ahsoka!" Kaeden ran toward her, but stopped short of throwing her good arm around Ahsoka's shoulder. She knew that lightsabers were not to be trifled with. She could almost feel the power pouring out of Ahsoka anyway. It was amazing. "I could kiss you." Ahsoka stopped in her tracks. The look she shot Kaeden was mildly confused. "Not now, I mean," Kaeden said. She wanted to laugh for the first time in weeks, but thought that might just be the hysteria setting in. "My timing is terrible, and you have all those Jedi hang-ups. I just wanted you to know, in case we die." "Oh," said Ahsoka. "Well, thanks." She paused. "And we are not going to die." So Kaeden finally admits to Ahsoka that she has real feelings for her. And there is Ahsoka's like kind of taken aback and kind of like, "Ooh, I don't know, like what's happening?" So who knows what's going through Ahsoka's mind, but you know that Ahsoka really, really cares about Kaeden. Throughout the book, it's made very, very clear that she has a deep love and respect for Kaeden. So who knows what that translates to, but still, Kaeden is a fabulous character. Should have been in Tales of the Jedi. Bums me out she was not. And then the very end of this, as I alluded to earlier, Bail Organa gets Ahsoka's Raada friends set up with the Tantive V4 and Captain Antilles so they can evacuate. So they leave the moon, they go off, and Ahsoka and Kaeden probably never see each other again, which is kind of sad. But I really like how this relationship between the two girls developed. It was in times of trial and tribulation, difficult situations, Imperial overlordness, but they came together and they got over their differences and over the secrets, and everything just came together the way it needed to save the people of Raada. So highly recommend this book, Ahsoka by E.K. Johnston. So good. Some of it is not canon anymore, but that's okay because you should still read it. And yeah, if you want to comment down below and let me know what you think about Kaeden Larte, I'd love to hear your thoughts, what you think about the Ahsoka novel. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter at @AliaMorgain, and peruse my blog at thestarsreview.blogspot.com. May the Force be with you.